I'm going to try to demonstrate some processes in the behavior of pigeons. And whether I do or not depends on the pigeons. If things go well, that will be fine. If they don't, I can take that long-standing line of all teachers that it's always the student who fails. But I don't mean to do that because the pigeon is always right.
Pigeons change the way that we think about work. In 1948, there was a Harvard psychologist called B.F. Skinner, and he created these boxes where he placed very hungry pigeons with small levers. And during that time, he found out something pretty remarkable, which is that if you reward the pigeon with food every time they peck at the lever, they'll keep pecking at the lever until they get full, and then they'll stop. That makes sense, right? But where it gets interesting is that he discovered that if he gave the reward at random intervals, the pigeon would just peck endlessly. From this, Skinner believed that he had discovered a universal principle about human behavior, which is that reinforcements are essential to get the desired behavior. And in his defense, it worked perfectly in a laboratory where it was very controlled with pigeons. And it also worked pretty well in the working environments of that time where work was very mechanical and rote. So management consultants at that time thought, well, if this works on pigeons, it might work on humans. It started to shape management philosophy, which was very much so about tying a reward of money or status to an action, and that the more that you do the action, the more that you can possibly get that reward. When I was in college, I worked in a medical factory, and they used this form of motivation, of encouraging performance. I basically had to produce 380 units of this specific product every day, and for every 20 extra units that I produced beyond that, I got paid more. And it worked there because you basically didn't have to think, you just had to repeat the same process over and over again. But I also see this mode of motivating being used in lots of environments where it doesn't work. For example, there's a sales team that I'm working with at the moment, and everything about their pay and their performance review is determined by metrics. So it's all about the number of sales calls made, the number of emails sent, the number of outbound efforts. And then even on their sales calls, there is a very particular formula that they have to follow, and they are scored on if they hit all the points which have sort of been laid out in a script for them. And what this does is this actually blocks and reduces the quality of their performance, because the thing that they can only see is hitting the targets. So they end up missing out on the bigger picture of what's involved in the job. And for these people, they have mastered so many of the mechanical aspects, but they're extremely underdeveloped in the artistic aspects of the craft, which involves being emotionally aware, being a great listener, saying the right thing at the right time, understanding the dynamic between you and the person that you're speaking to, uncovering what their true need and desire is. All of these things you can give guidelines on, but really what you need is for the person to be observing themselves and to be aware while they're doing it. And this is something that the Skinner box never touched on. Because what Skinner missed, and what we're all missing, is that the modern forms of human work, and certainly life itself, cannot be reduced to pecks and rewards. There's a lot of stuff which can't be measured. There's a lot of stuff which actually only comes from developing the person, developing the whole aspect of the human being. And this is what actually starts to give me hope, because when people start to step out of their digital Skinner boxes, seeing beyond just the very basic rewards that they're being reinforced by, they can actually start to awaken this curiosity. They can start to be curious about themselves, curious about the others that they connect with, and curious about the craft of the work that they do. And through that, everything becomes better. The individual grows as a human being, the work becomes better, and the person that you are serving feels more appreciated and gets a better service. So in today's day and age, where I see so many companies who are investing in more systems and processes as a way to increase performance, I think it's worth holding out just a little space to recognize perhaps there are aspects of this work which can never be measured. And how can we give attention to that so that that can be improved? Because maybe the real challenge isn't implementing better measurement systems. Maybe it's actually helping people discover parts of themselves which could never have been measured in the first place.